It was just past midnight when Officer Ryan Cole pulled the trigger. 2 flashes lit up the dark alley, followed by the echoing crack of gunfire against the brick walls. The suspect, 27-year-old Marcus Hale, crumpled onto the wet pavement, a small handgun sliding out of his reach. Body cam footage would later show Cole shouting, "He had a gun! He aimed at me!" before lowering his weapon. To the department, it was an open-end shut case. To Marcus Hale's family, it was murder. And to the handful of people who knew Marcus, well, it was something much darker. Marcus Hale wasn't a saint. He'd been arrested twice, once for petty theft at 19, once for a bar fight at 23. But he was also working 2 jobs to support his younger sister, and according to his employer at the auto shop, he hadn't missed a shift in 8 months. Officer Ryan Cole, 34, had been with the city police for nearly a decade. Commendations, no major disciplinary marks. Married, 2 kids, the kind of officer the department liked to put in recruitment brochures. That's why, when the official report said Marcus had pulled a gun during a stop and frisk, few questioned it, except for one detail. The gun recovered at the scene had no fingerprints. The last day of Marcus Hale's life began like any other. According to his sister, Renee, he left the apartment just before 8 a.m., kissed her on the cheek, and said, "Don't wait up, I'll be working late." Witnesses at the garage said Marcus was distracted that day. He kept checking his phone, stepping outside for smoke breaks even though he didn't smoke. At 9:45 p.m., he clocked out. Security cameras caught him walking alone down East Lawson Street, hands in his pockets. By 11 p.m., he was less than 3 blocks from home. By 12:05 a.m., he was dead. The police version was straightforward. Officer Cole was on patrol when he saw Marcus acting suspiciously in the alley behind Johnson's Liquor. Cole ordered him to stop. Marcus allegedly turned, pulled a gun, and Cole fired 2 shots in self-defense. Paramedics pronounced Marcus dead at the scene. The gun was collected, photographed, and logged. The DA's office cleared Cole within 48 hours. Case closed, except a neighbor named Luis Ortega said he saw something else. Luis Ortega lived in the apartment above the liquor store. That night, he'd been sitting by his window, smoking when he saw Marcus walk into the alley, unarmed. Seconds later, another man entered from the opposite side. Ortega couldn't see his face clearly, but he noticed something. Marcus raised his hands. The other man drew a gun. Ortega swore Marcus never had a weapon in his hands before he went down. When detectives interviewed him, his statement was quietly filed and never mentioned in the final report. 2 weeks later, an anonymous flash drive arrived at Renee Hale's door. It contained a single video file labeled Cole_Cam2.mp4. When she played it, the screen showed Officer Cole in the alley. The audio was faint under the rain, but one line was clear. "It's done. I'll drop the piece near his hand." The video cut to black. Renee Hale hadn't told anyone about the flash drive. Not yet. She sat in the dark, the laptop still open on the kitchen table, replaying the video over and over. Each time, the same grainy image, Officer Ryan Cole lowering his weapon, a shadow moving just out of frame, and then his voice, calm, almost casual. "It's done. I'll drop the piece near his hand." If she took this to the police, would it disappear like Luis Ortega's statement? If she went public, would they come for her next? Renee called the only person she trusted outside the family, investigative journalist Carla Mendoza. Carla had covered police corruption cases before, and she didn't scare easily. When Renee showed her the video, Carla's first words were, "Where did you get this?" They agreed to meet in a quiet diner 2 towns over. Carla brought her own laptop, copying the file to an encrypted drive. She promised to verify its authenticity before taking it to any editor. Carla's contacts in the department confirmed something troubling. There was no Cole_Cam2.mp4 listed in the official body cam records. Body cameras have multiple angles and backup files, but one feed from Cole's unit was missing entirely, labeled technical failure. That same failure had been reported in 2 other officer-involved shootings in the past 5 years. When Internal Affairs got wind that Carla was asking questions, she received a polite but firm email. We would strongly advise against interfering in an ongoing investigation. The problem? There was no ongoing investigation. The case was already closed. 3 days later, another shooting rocked the same precinct. Officer Cole was involved again. This time, the suspect, a homeless man named Walter Briggs, survived. From his hospital bed, Briggs told reporters, "I didn't have no gun. He planted that thing, same as he'd done before." The department dismissed him as delusional. But Carla and Renee heard the same phrase echo in their minds. Planted that thing. Carla pulled Cole's full-service record. 5 shootings in 10 years. 3 fatal. All cleared as justified. In each case, there were whispers, witnesses claiming the suspect didn't have a weapon until after they were down. And in each case, the only person who saw the gun appear was Cole. The deeper Carla dug, the clearer it became. Someone was covering for him, erasing footage, burying testimony. Late one night, Carla parked outside Cole's home, camera ready. Through the rain-speckled windshield, she saw him leave, not in his patrol car, but a dark, unmarked SUV. She followed at a distance. He drove to a derelict warehouse on the industrial edge of the city. From the shadows, another man stepped forward to greet him, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a black coat. The same build Luis Ortega had described in the alley the night Marcus died. Cole handed him something small, metallic, and the man slipped it into his pocket. Carla raised her camera, but before she could click, a Cole voice spoke just outside her driver's window. "Looking for trouble, Ms. Mendoza?" Carla didn't dare move. The man's voice was steady, almost amused. She slowly turned her head. Standing just inches from her car window was a tall, broad-shouldered figure, face obscured by the hood of a black rain jacket. Through the glass, she could see the faint glint of something metallic in his right hand. Not a gun, at least not yet. "Turn off the engine," he said. Her camera sat on the passenger seat, still pointed toward the warehouse. Carla did as he said. The man opened the door and slid into the passenger seat, like he owned it. "Start driving," he instructed. As she pulled away from the warehouse, her mind raced. Where was Cole now? Who was this man? He sat with his hands folded, calm, as if they were just 2 strangers sharing a taxi. "You're looking in the wrong places," he said finally. "Cole's not the beginning. He's the cleanup." The man refused to give his name, but dropped enough hints to make Carla's stomach tighten. "There's a list," he said. "Names of people who were a problem. People who got in the way. Marcus Hale was on that list. Walter Briggs, too. Cole's good at what he does. He's just one piece. You start pulling, you'll find the rest. But maybe you don't want to." He opened the door at a stoplight and stepped out into the rain without looking back. By the time Carla blinked, he was gone. And aftermath. Pressure on Renee meanwhile. Renee Hale started noticing the same white sedan parked across from her apartment for 3 nights in a row. The first time, she brushed it off. The second, she told herself it was coincidence. The third time, she saw the driver, a man in sunglasses despite the night, looking straight at her window. The next morning, a note was slipped under her door. "Stop digging or you'll end up like him." Carla traced a warehouse Cole had visited to a company called Riverside Security Logistics, officially a supplier of surveillance equipment to local businesses. Unofficially, it was run by a former police captain who'd left the force under medical retirement after internal complaints vanished from his file. When Carla cross-referenced old cases, she found a chilling pattern. At least 7 shootings in the past decade involved officers linked to Riverside. In every single case, a weapon appeared where none had been before. Late one night, Carla returned home to find her apartment door ajar. Inside, the place had been torn apart. Drawers dumped, paper scattered, her laptop gone. On the kitchen counter sat a single item, the flash drive Renee had given her. Except when she plugged it into a backup computer, the file was gone. In its place was a single new recording that IT was Officer Cole, sitting in an interrogation room. He looked straight at the camera and said, "You got 1 more day, Carla. Then we're done." Carla didn't sleep that night. Cole's recorded threat echoed in her head. You got one more day, then we're done. She knew what done meant in their world. It meant her story would end up like Marcus Hale's, shut down, buried under justified force reports. But Cole had made a mistake. He'd put a time limit on her, and she still had 24 hours to burn him down. Carla reached out to Renee and Walter Briggs. She laid it out. They won't stop. The only way we survive is if this all comes out. Now, everywhere, all at once. Walter, still weak from the shooting, agreed to go on record. Renee, hands trembling, gave Carla permission to use every detail of Marcus's case. The flash drive, the witness statements, the missing body cam file. And then an unexpected call came in. Luis Ortega, the liquor store neighbor, said, "I've still got the security camera from that night. It's yours if you want it." Ortega's footage was grainy but clear enough. Marcus Hale entered the alley empty-handed. Cole approached, weapon already drawn. From a far end, the tall man in the black coat stepped into view, tossing a small object toward Marcus just as Cole fired. Frame by frame, you could see it wasn't a gun until it hit the wet ground beside Marcus's hand. It was enough. Carla didn't just send the files to one outlet. She sent them to 10 local stations, national networks, and independent journalists. Within hours, the footage hit the news cycle. The mayor's office announced an immediate suspension of Officer Ryan Cole pending investigation. By evening, the district attorney confirmed Cole was in custody, not just for Marcus Hale's death, but for at least 2 other shootings linked to planted evidence. But Riverside Security Logistics didn't go down quietly. Search warrants revealed stockpiles of unregistered firearms, falsified training records, and consulting payments to multiple officers. The man in the black coat, identified as Victor Raines, a former SWAT sergeant, was arrested in a sting 2 weeks later. Prosecutors allege Raines was Riverside enforcer, the one who cleaned scenes before internal affairs arrived. For once, there would be no missing files, no technical failures. In court, Cole's calm facade cracked when Ortega's footage was played. Renee sat in the gallery, clutching a small silver cross Marcus had worn every day. Walter Briggs gave his testimony, voice steady. Luis Ortega's video sealed the case. Cole was sentenced to 35 years without parole. Victor Raines got 42. Riverside Security Logistics was dismantled. Several officers took plea deals. Months later, Carla walked the same alley where Marcus Hale had been killed. The rain had washed away the chalk outlines, but not the memory. Justice had come, but at a cost. Renee had moved to another city. Walter still carried the pain in his arm. Carla's name was both celebrated and cursed in police circles. As she stood in the quiet, she thought of Cole's last words in that recording. "We're done." He was wrong. They were far from done. In the end, justice came, but at a cost no one could ever truly count. The names are etched into reports, the headlines already fading. Yet the echoes of what happened will never leave those who lived it. Somewhere out there, another story waits in the shadows, another truth fighting to be heard. If you were drawn into this case, subscribe now. There are more stories like this, hidden, haunting, and waiting to be told. Subscribe for more real crime stories, fictional, but hauntingly real.